a sea of richest trade and resources in the South China Sea. The South China Sea is a crucial waterway for global commerce. Trillions of dollars in goods transit the region annually. This vital artery connects East Asia with Europe, the Middle East, and beyond. The sea itself holds vast reserves of oil and natural gas. These resources are a point of contention between neighboring countries. Fishing grounds in the South China Sea are also vital to the livelihoods of millions. The competition for these resources adds another layer of complexity to the dispute. The control of these resources has significant economic implications. Countries vying for dominance seek to secure their energy security and economic future. This competition for resources raises concerns about potential conflict. The South China Sea dispute, therefore, has ramifications far beyond the region itself. A history written in water centuries of contention. The South China Sea's strategic importance is rooted in its history. For centuries, it has been a crossroads of trade and cultural exchange. This maritime route connected China, Southeast Asia, and the Indian Ocean. Control of the sea meant control of trade and influence. Colonial powers, recognizing this, vied for dominance in the region. European empires left their mark on the South China Sea, shaping territorial claims. After World War II, newly independent nations inherited these complex claims. The discovery of oil and gas reserves in the 20th century heightened tensions. Overlapping claims to islands, reefs, and resources became increasingly contentious. This historical backdrop informs the current geopolitical landscape of the South China Sea. China's gambit, assertions, and actions in the South China Sea. China claims indisputable sovereignty over most of the South China Sea. This claim is based on historical maps and what China terms its 9-dash line. This line encompasses almost the entire sea, overlapping with claims of other nations. In recent years, China has ramped up its military presence in the region. Construction of artificial islands and military installations has raised alarm bells globally. These actions are seen as a way to solidify its claims and project power. China argues these actions are necessary to protect its sovereignty and interests. However, its neighbors and the international community view them with concern. The militarization of the South China Sea threatens the delicate balance of power in the region. China's actions have led to increased tensions and a heightened risk of confrontation. The American response, countering China's moves. The United States views China's actions in the South China Sea as a threat to regional stability. It asserts that China's claims violate international law and freedom of navigation. The U.S. Navy conducts regular freedom of navigation operations, FONOPs, in the region. These operations challenge China's expansive maritime claims. The U.S. has also strengthened its alliances with countries in the region. This includes increased military cooperation and support for their maritime capabilities. The U.S. maintains that it does not take sides in the territorial disputes. However, its actions clearly aim to counter China's growing influence. This strategic competition between the two superpowers adds another layer of complexity to the South China Sea dispute. The risk of miscalculation and escalation remains a constant concern. Section 5. Stakes and interests. A geopolitical chessboard. The South China Sea dispute is a microcosm of the broader geopolitical competition between the United States and China. For China, asserting control over the South China Sea is about more than just resources. It is about securing its maritime trade routes, which are vital to its economy. It is also about projecting power and influence in its near abroad and challenging the US-led security architecture in the Asia-Pacific. For the United States, maintaining the status quo in the South China Sea is crucial to its global leadership. It wants to preserve freedom of navigation and uphold the rules-based international order. The US also seeks to protect the interests of its allies and partners in the region. The competing interests of these global powers make the South China Sea a potential flashpoint for conflict. Section 6. Global ripple effects. The stakes for regional and global stability. The South China Sea dispute has far-reaching implications for regional and global stability. The risk of conflict between China and other claimant states, or even between China and the United States, is a constant worry. Such a conflict would have devastating consequences for all involved. Economically, any disruption to trade routes through the South China Sea would send shockwaves through the global economy. The dispute also undermines efforts to address transnational challenges like climate change and piracy. The lack of trust and cooperation makes it difficult to find common ground on these pressing issues. The South China Sea dispute is a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of global security and the importance of peaceful resolution of disputes. Section 7. A Sea of Uncertainty. Tensions and potential resolutions. Despite diplomatic efforts, a lasting solution to the South China Sea dispute remains elusive. Tensions continue to simmer, and the risk of escalation is always present. Some experts believe that a major conflict is unlikely, as all parties involved understand the high stakes. However, the potential for miscalculation or an unintended incident sparking a crisis cannot be ruled out. Finding a peaceful resolution requires dialogue, compromise, and a commitment to international law. All claimants must be willing to negotiate in good faith and respect the rights of others. The international community also has a role to play in encouraging restraint and promoting dialogue. Section 8. ASEAN's role. Navigating a peaceful resolution. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, plays a crucial role in mediating the South China Sea dispute. ASEAN advocates for a peaceful resolution through dialogue and diplomacy. It emphasizes the importance of self-restraint and the non-use of force. ASEAN has been working with China to establish a code of conduct in the South China Sea. This code aims to manage maritime activities and prevent incidents. While progress has been slow, the code of conduct represents a glimmer of hope. A binding and effective code could help reduce tensions and promote stability in the region. ASEAN's continued engagement is essential for finding a lasting solution. Section 9. International Law and Arbitration. The role of UNCLOS. International law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, provides a framework for resolving maritime disputes. UNCLOS establishes rules for maritime boundaries, resource management, and navigation. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled against China's claims in the South China Sea. The tribunal found that China's 9-line claim has no legal basis under UNCLOS. China, however, rejected the tribunal's ruling, calling it null and void. Despite China's rejection, the ruling carries significant weight in international law. It reinforces the importance of UNCLOS and the peaceful settlement of disputes. The international community continues to urge China to abide by the tribunal's ruling. Section 10. The future of the South China Sea. Cooperation or conflict? The future of the South China Sea hangs in the balance. The path chosen by China, the United States, and other regional actors will determine whether the region descends into conflict or finds a path to cooperation. Dialogue, diplomacy, and a commitment to international law are essential for a peaceful resolution. The alternative is a dangerous escalation with potentially catastrophic consequences. The world is watching the South China Sea with bated breath. The stakes are high, and the choices made in the coming years will have a profound impact on the future of the Asia-Pacific and beyond. The hope remains that reason and diplomacy will prevail, leading to a peaceful and prosperous future for all. Denti.